I'm just going to say this very bluntly, very succinctly, and then move on. Uh, Several years ago, I met a pastor, and he was an unconventional pastor. He had been ordained in ministry in the Episcopal Church and then was excommunicated because of his qualms with proposed changes to the Book of Common Prayer that were happening in the 1970s. He ended up doing his own ministry. I met him. We got to know each other, and I was baptized into his ministry. His ministry was not affiliated with any other kind of ecumenical background outside of the fact that he was honest about what he had experienced in the past, including how he had been retaliated against after his first ministry, which happened to be Colossian. Let's put it that way. At some point, he gave me some of the books that he had written in his lineage. I gave some copies to some people I used to know that I really highly respected and thought would appreciate these books. But my understanding is that at some point after he was murdered, somebody took his legacy and they created an insurance scheme with it for Christian couples in Dallas. Now, you all have been very coy. What you did yesterday was unconscionable. It wasn't your right to do that. And you have no justification using unconstitutional, persecutorial religious test to taunt someone because you want me to sign my bearer bond over to one of you. You do know you're responsible for the burning of the church at Notre Dame. You're responsible. You have no right to try to re-sanctify anything that God allowed to get burned down just because you kidnap people and torture them and try to steal their lives and lineages and say God has backed you up in so doing. God has done no such thing. You crossed the line. You went way too far and you were warned. This was absolutely the wrong time to do this. This was not your time. And what you've done, if you've tried to impose again your profane, self-willed intent onto other people, it's unfortunate. Much like the history of politics, left and right, sectarianism is the undoing of many a fine thing. People get disappeared, they get tortured. Sometimes they get split open, spiked, beheaded, crucified, and inverted. That's part of your history, and I know that. It's part of mine too. I had really hoped you would have taken what you alleged your commitment to the poor was more seriously. But it would seem there needs to be a reconfiguration of the scheme. Some of these things are out of my hands, but you had no fucking right to take somebody that was sacred to me and try to force me to play something profane so that he could be desecrated for your benefit. And that's what you tried to do, and it wasn't even your time to do it. It's 2:12.